yet. Come on, Anti-Trigger. You're going to have 6 minutes to do whatever you got to do anyway once you start your stream.
Baby.
I'm a
There he
sexy
goes.
Come
Just started. Okay.
live stream.
Anti-Trigger just
Don't say
started, and
baby.
here is the link to
It never ends.
Anti-Tracker in case anybody doesn't get it.
Anti-Trigger
There you
just
guys
started.
are.
Here is the
Ozzy Bird of Prey Cinnabon only got the bunny cam on. Okay, doesn't count. Howard James' Anti-Trigger solely sold out at 10K subs. What a shill. Yeah, Resolute Germs' tag in Cinnabon he can take out Anti. Richie Poole says I haven't seen a notification. It's coming right now. It's coming right now. Carlos says good night, Bert. Good night.
Streaming.
Richie Poole says there it is. Richie Poole, good night. Thank you, Richie. Joe Lau, have a good rest. Thank you. Mike Richards, farewell from Columbus, Ohio. Thanks for hanging in there, Bert. Thank you. Thank you. Kaplabi. Kapla, guys. Good night, all.
You go crazy.
And Captain Track put in Cinnabon's link. Thank you, Captain Track. Good night, everyone, to John DeMarco. Good night, Caroga. 48 likes, says Ozzy. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Good night, all. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Kapla. Thank you, Uncle Remus. Thank you, Wesley. And thank you, everybody who came. Now that's a franchise I'd watch.
I think you know why you are here. There's a part of you that the normies fear. We know the truth is what you seek, so we welcome you to the home of geeks. Of the oddball, the neglected, the outcast, the rejected, we're all here to celebrate. Anti-Drag rebels in the wondrous and strange. Wherever we are here, we see clear, there's no fear, into the steady air.
I have sex with she-males every day. I love having sex with she-males.
All the orphans in Caroga know a guy who lives in a big old bed. Every time a slimy politician hails him, it goes right to his head. Anti-Trucker tries with all his might to save the orphans from the mine. But the Spanish know, that slavery isn't very kind. If you like beagle bites, then hey-oh, 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 hey-oh. Dance like a Rogan.
I'm a sexy Asian woman. Son of a bitch!
There's a nasty rumor going round that Bird loves sex with she-males. There's a harem there, the harem was Bird's holy grail. If you venture down to the pit, you'll find a songwriter shackled there. Every night and day, they force him to write and flog him back. Thus he jumps right up to bark and say, dance like a Carogan. Dance like a Carogan. Dance like a Carogan.
How are you going to be able to get it in the hole? That's the question. And that is the $1 million question. It's not as easy to get in the hole as you think. Come on.
Ah, shit. Well. It was a valiant attempt.
Man, I tell you, that is the creepiest shot of bird of prey ever. So, first of all, I have my official Baby Yoda whiskey glass, my official Death Star ice, a little Southern Comfort to help ease the pain tonight. I will tell you, if there was a color that represented more intense pain than red, that is what I would have on right now. This has been an incredibly rough day, and that's actually why I'm starting the stream a little earlier than usual. I actually ended my work shift a little bit early. I'll make up the time later this week, but it was just getting to be too much. I couldn't deal with some of the stupidity of work. That, you know, if work didn't suck, they wouldn't pay you to do it. But it was just getting to be a little too much. So, anyway, to the chat we go. Thomas was first in the house. 47 York Town says hello. Life with Matthew says, hey, anti-checker and all. You and me need to get together, Life with Matthew. We've got to get these videos going because you and I have been slacking. Number one Sci-Fi says hello. How you doing, my friend? Commander Shran says hello. Donnie says hello, everyone. Hello, Michael. Hey, Donnie. Alexander says hi. 47 says Bird can go to sleep. Indeed, he can. He can watch this tomorrow morning and learn about what a jerk he is. John, the former peasant, is here. Admiral Saval says, hey. Ozzy says, I'm kind of not first. That's true, but you're always welcome, my Australian friend. Too much Bird of Prey 5 talking. Sorry, Thomas. Rambling Canuck, my pain brother, is here. Good to see you, my friend. Joe is here saying hi. Hey, Joe. Sorry the bird wouldn't answer your question, so I had to answer it for him. John, the former peasant, says Krapla to one and all. Aberjam says, greetings, oh great Turtistani. I can't believe you won't let me sleep. What a jerk. I am so sorry, Aberjam, but, you know, I gotta be me. And the Fed throws 10 Australian dollars into the chat. Thank you so much. And says, got into a stream early. Good timing on the lunch hour. Good afternoon, Anti-Trigger, from the toilet paper desert of Australia. I wish I was exaggerating. Truly, I do. Well, the good news, Fed, is, of course, since you... Oh, and there's the official... I do need to change this. I'm so sorry, guys. I have so much stuff I've been wanting to get done, and I haven't. Anyway, and as you can see, the 3D printer is printing something new. We're going to talk about the donuts in a minute for those of you that know about the donuts. But 10 internet points to whoever is the first person to guess exactly what that is. Anyway, but because you gave Australian dollars, you know the rules.
About the dingoes and the roos. The dingoes and the roos, they fight. And the shrimp fall off the Barbie. And in Tasmania, all...
Yes, Bird of Prey, official spokesperson of Australia. But thank you so much, Fed. I do appreciate it. And let's see. Ozzy says, welcome to the late night antics of Anti-Checker. Indeed. John DeMarco's here, says, greetings. Mike is here from Columbus, Ohio. Well, it took you long enough, says Richie. Actually, I'm earlier than usual. Jeez, give me a break. Thomas says Anti-Checker needs a Gelogia machine in his office. Indeed. You know, one of the things we actually talked about, if we ever get enough money, we want to do a little bit of remodeling upstairs, because the room I'm in is a decent-sized bonus room, but back that way, there's a door that goes to a full-size attic the entire length of the house. And we were thinking it would be really cool. We could have put a bathroom there and a master bedroom up there. I think that would be really cool. So that's something we'd like to do one day if we can ever get the money together. Right now, it's just a matter of trying to pay the bills. Death by Rabies throws his $3 fist bump in there. Thank you so much, Death by Rabies. I can't do the double fist bump like I usually do because my back is in a really, really bad way right now. But thank you, my friend. I truly appreciate it. Captain Trek says, greetings, hey. And then the chat jumped on me, says, I missed quite a few live streams as of late. So Herman Schmeckelbeck, number 23, Spin, Schmeckelbeck, thank you. Well, it's good to see you, and I'm glad that you have not abandoned me. Man of Sand says, Antrigger sure does have good art skills, or else whoever works for him has good art skills. Well, a little of each. So, yeah, the 3D printing stuff is all me, but the, obviously Joshua does the animations and stuff, and then Bird of Prey provides the comic relief around here. Aberjam says, dance like a Carogan. Man, I haven't even got past the opening credits yet. Does Joshua do the cartoon art? Yes, he does. And in fact, he just finished one that I still got to get some live action bits that I'm putting together with it. So, I'm looking at you, Life with Matthew, and anybody else that's a content contributor, check our group Discord, because I need footage of you guys for the music video. Martin says, no, 400 pounds for you. I understand. And I am truly sorry about what happened there. That sucks, my friend. And I hope that doesn't put you into a bad way this month. But I know Bird is, I will tell you, I will vouch for Bird, all joking about Caroga aside. He will do everything he can to try and get that 400 pounds back to you. Valor says, had to uncheck and recheck the notification button, but it seems like it worked. I got your notification. Excellent. Yeah, YouTube is kind of wonky with that. Josh says, you show us what happened to the woman who was dancing with Bird since she was seen getting out of Bird's Jeep in Super Chat 17. That's true. That is very true. Where did you find the Baby Yoda glass at? I found this actually on Amazon. Hey, Trekkers, Southern Comfort sounds good right now. I'm drinking raspberry tea at the moment from Arizona. That's not bad, but right now I need something that will help deaden the old nerve endings. Wait, lazy anti-checker kids work in mines? No, my kids don't work in the mines. JP says, hey, you wore that shirt already. Enter the mix some Southern Comfort with Jack Daniels and you'll be in heaven. Yeah, I don't have any JD with me. That wouldn't be too bad. But I wore the shirt this morning. Jeez. Charles puts $1.99 in and says, what CAD and slicer do you use? I use FreeCAD. I'm actually using Blender for my 3D artwork, which I know, like for 3D printing, CAD programs tend to be a little better, but I originally learned on 3D on Maya, Lightwave, and 3ds Max when I was in college. And I really like the 3D art part of it. That's really why, and the printing is just kind of gravy. But the problem is that you have to do a little bit of finagling to make a Blender model work. But anyway, for my slicer, though, I'm using Cura 4.5. Cura 4.5 is pretty solid. And by the way, if you've considered Blender but didn't like it, as was the case with me, check out Blender 2.82 is actually really good. It's almost up there with the big boys now as far as I'm concerned. I really, really like 2.8. I've just had maybe a couple of hours messing around on it, and I really am liking it. I just wish that they had something like Mel scripting for Maya. Mel scripting in Maya is just freaking incredible. Let's see. Jeff says, hello, sir. Zeroth again. Good to see you, Jeff. Aberjam says, what's on the printer today? I already said first person that guesses it gets 10 internet points. Not trying to nanny you, but switch from booze to healthier tea. It will help your joint pain, etc. Boil ginger in your tea. I've never tried ginger in my tea. I don't drink, I know it might seem like it sometimes, but I actually don't drink that much. Pretty much the only time I drink is when I'm doing my live streams. But it does help me sleep sometimes when the pain is particularly bad. And I don't like using it for medicinal purposes, but the problem is that at least in my state, you can't get a prescription for decent pain medication. You just can't. And so, I mean, I'll tell you that right now, if I could get some oxycodone or something, I would take it in a heartbeat because I'm a wreck. But not much I can do about it. And Charles says, wait, physical pain or mental? Well, physical. Mr. Mr. Miles always first. I'm always awesome. Auntie should be on that glass. Need to have a poo ice cube trays, and Auntie forever cuter than Baby Yoda. I'd love to have someone sent me a poo ice tray, and I'm not sure where it is. I gotta find. Actually, it was Reality Strikes gave it to me. I gotta find it because that's actually a good idea. Let's see. Fed says awaits the pain of the bird Australian. Well, you got your wish. Phaser, no, it is not a phaser. 3D printing donuts, smart. Yes, we'll show the 3D donuts in just a moment here. Australia is so on my bucket list. My mock-up cover of its national anthem, Advanced Australia Fair, is on my SoundCloud page. Very cool, Donnie. Yeah, I do want to visit Australia, but, the funny thing about visiting other countries, I don't give a crap about the country itself. I want to visit the people in the country. Like, I want to hang out with some Australians, right? I want to hang out with the Fed. I want to hang out with Aussie. I want to hang out with my friends that are in Australia, because that's what I love, meeting people from different places. So that's why I want to go to Australia. Now, granted, it'd be cute to see the koala bears and all that crap, but what I really want is to meet up with the people. Is it the Foley plaque he doesn't stop talking about? No, it is not. KG says, hey, good evening, brother. Hey, KG. Fed says, I don't know. Between Bird and Dingo, my money would be on Bird to devour the beast. Indeed, I think Bird would eat the Dingo. Is it the TNG or TNG movie com badge? Getting closer, but not quite. Captain Trek. Why am I reading that? So Captain Trek. And there goes thing. And okay, says 3D print spinning Spock tops. That's one thing I want to, now that I'm relearning this new version of Blender, I'm going to start modeling a spinning Spock as soon as I can. We are all brothers and sisters of Trek and sci-fi. Yes, indeed, Valor. And let's see. Richie says, the TOS bridge doesn't have a head, so neither does Anti-Trekker's studio. Unfortunately, that is true. Although in the blueprints, in the official technical manual, there is a head in the main bridge. It's just that you never see it. Well, Josh says, but that is the room you have freed Carogan orphans, so where are you going to put them if you remodel that area of the house? Oh, don't worry, the freed Carogan orphans have plenty. Turkestan is not like Caroga. We are not a poor, destitute country. We're actually doing very well as a nation. So the Carogan orphans that we rescue are treated with utmost respect and dignity and given their own places to live, and they do not have to mine uranium. And in fact, they're, treated, of course, for all the radiation poisoning. W.R. Croston says, greetings, wonderful seeming of people. Those of you who actually are wonderful, and well, maybe I will acknowledge your existence at some time. Miles is in the house, says, it looks almost like a Daenerys silhouette. It's not a Daenerys, but that's an interesting guess. Borgistan, or Bogistan. Bogistan. That's weird. And E. Ferris says, are you printing the Trek Yards logo? Indeed, I am. Good job. That is, in fact, what it is. This is going to be a Trek Yards logo. It's just a test print. I basically modeled the Trek Yards logo today and just doing a test print to see how it looks for part of the plaque that I'm doing for him. Now, let me see. I'm about 5 minutes behind, so let me get caught up a little bit, and then we'll talk about the donuts. John says, serving up more music videos than MTV has in years. This is true. The Star Trek 2 through 6 movie com badge, well, they didn't have com badges. They just had badges. You should join the Bird of Prey 5 on the dark side. Why would I want to join Bird of Prey 5? He's evil. You should search for the 3D printer clip from The Big Bang Theory. It's hilarious. I don't know about that one. I'll have to check it out. I'm watching Blender Guru tutorial. I've never worked with this type of software before. It's a little intimidating. It is, but I'll tell you. So if you're doing the Blender Guru donut tutorial, that's what I did to model the donut that I'm using for my 3D test prints. And it's a good tutorial. I'll tell you, you may have to go through the tutorial a couple of times. The second time you do it, it'll feel so much easier. And then if you do it a third time, you do it with your eyes closed. And at that point, then you start experimenting and doing your own stuff. Aberjam says, who needs oxycodone when 5 minutes of bird stream will put anyone to sleep? Well, getting to sleep can be difficult, but the main problem is once I fall asleep, then I'll move in some way, when my back is out like it is now, I'll move in some way that just causes some insane pain, and it'll wake me up. And then I'll go like, ah! And then I'll wake up Mrs. Anti-Checker, and then everybody's having a bad night, so yeah. They bleached all the door handles and stuff people touch to work. This prevents the virus, but bleach is making me sick. Yeah, I saw you said that on Birdstream. That sucks, man. I understand. You know, everybody's paranoid about the virus. You know, the stores here, the shelves are pretty much empty as far as cleaning materials and stuff. And it's kind of funny because people are stupid. By the way, here's a pro tip. You can make your own hand sanitizer with rubbing alcohol and aloe vera. That's all hand sanitizer is. Darth Maul, the Prince of the Trekyards badge. Yes, indeed. Number one says, you skipped my guess above. I said it was the Trekyards Con badge earlier. I'm sorry, number one. I missed it. I didn't mean to. I'll be honest with you. I'm having a difficult time focusing right now because of the pain factor, and so my apologies. So you get 10 internet points, and everybody that guessed it before I actually said it gets 10 internet points. So you and E and Darth Maul all get 10 internet points. Fed Doc says, my advice, if you can stand hot weather for year round, you should come to Brisbane. If you hated California, you'll hate Sydney and worse. Melbourneistan. Well, you know, I don't like the hot weather, but like I said, I'm not going there for the landscapes and, you know, adventuring around in the desert. Because I'll be honest with you, Fed. I know a lot of people love the desert. They think it's beautiful and all that. I hate the desert. If I'm going to go anywhere for nature type stuff, I'm going to go places where there's lots and lots of trees and bodies of water. I love, like, I would love to have Riker's cabin from the last episode of Picard. That is like my dream home right there. A cabin in the middle of nowhere, preferably on a lake, and with, you know, obviously 24th century tech, even though it doesn't have any tech. That's kind of weird. Some kind of device for blowing the doors off Carogan prison cells. The way you open up a Carogan prison cell is you touch it, because they're just so shabbily made. Darren says, what up? Did you get off work early? I did. I took a little bit of time off work. I'm going to make it up later this week because my back is just out so much that I could not focus. I can barely read this chat, but at least this isn't, like, stressful. Tom says, so it kind of is fully plaque. Well, it's one element that will be on the plaque. Valor says, missed your other stream, was with Vivian all morning, and she was vomiting a nasty hangover after she drank heavy PPC 6 ounces Everclear and 2 ounces of sake. Well, that sucks, Valor. I hope Vivian enjoyed the night before, because the morning after sounds like it was hell for her. I hope we get 3D prints of Herman Schmeckelbeck action figures. Don't think that that's going to happen, but I am thinking about doing various other characters you've seen on this channel and other channels in the community. E says, too late, Walmart ran out of hand sanitizer and aloe vera. Oh well. Thomas says, wish you could have joined us playing the game. Hunting Bird of Prey felt good. I do too. If I wasn't at work, I would have. Darth Maul says, my pastor opened today's service about the reaction of the beer named virus. One is lack of faith, and two, how the media has whipped it up. Well, I don't know what his angle was as far as the lack of faith thing, but the media is definitely whipping it up. I mean, because the disease is not going to wipe out humanity. It's not the frickin' T virus. You know, it's basically like, I know it's not a flu. It's a different type of viral infection, but it's milder than a flu as far as the symptoms, and so it's really not. I mean, yes, people who have a compromised immune system and stuff need to be careful. People like Bird of Prey, you know, and other people that have compromised immune systems have to try to be a little extra cautious while it's spreading. That being said, most average people will be just fine, and if you do get it, you'll just get sick, and then you'll get better. No. Why are people paranoid about the Caroga virus? The flu killed more people than Chinese virus. Birth virus, the swine flu from Mexico killed more people 10 years ago, and no one blamed Obama. I know. People are just crazy right now. Riker's cabin is better than Riker's island. That's true. When I said the Deredex silhouette, I obviously meant the check. Of course, that's what you meant, Mr. Miles. Mike Richards says, are internet points like H&S green stamps? Very much so, except internet points have zero value. People are afraid of coronavirus because Orange Man bad. But, yeah. Riker's cabin is on the Universal Studios Hollywood backlot tour. Is it really? I don't know. I know it looks familiar, but it's a nice looking cabin. Thinking about replacing my 10-year-old Alienware with another Alienware. Well, I'll tell you, I love Alienware systems. If I was going to buy a pre-built system and I had money to spend and I was not getting a true server type system, I would, or not server, but a workstation like an HP, what's it called, the Z800 or something like that. I would go Alienware if I was getting a gaming type system. Rios rumors are flooding the net. Yeah, I know, number one. I heard about the Rios thing. I saw, like, Mecca did a video about it. I actually left a comment on her video. Because she was talking about how horrible the rumor was. And I said, well, actually, you're kind of taking it out of context. Because, you're saying, oh, isn't this stupid, isn't this stupid? But without seeing it in the story, you don't know that it's stupid. I mean, because if you could say the exact same rumor about a certain episode of Voyager, almost exactly what they're saying about Rios, you could say about a certain thing in Voyager. And if that were in that episode of Voyager, not a bad episode. The media in the business of scaring people with BS like this towards average folks. That's very true. After drinking the heavy PPC, Vivian felt good all night after she hurt her knee at work. Now she just wants to sleep. I don't blame her. What's the Rios rumor? In a nutshell, okay, so if you don't want to hear it, I'll hold up my hand and I'll hold up this failed print of a donut, and it looks like a donut with a bite out of it. And when I put the donut down, I'm no longer talking about the spoiler. So you have 5, 4, 3, you got to mute it, 2. All right. So the basic rumor on Rios is that he's a hologram. And that he is, in fact, the emergency command hologram on the ship. Now, how he got down to Free Cloud, maybe as a mobile emitter, maybe he is, in fact, the Doctor from Voyager. But the Doctor created the emergency command hologram back in the day, and it wasn't a bad episode. So, people say, oh, that's just such a horrible idea. And it's like, until I see it in the episode, I'm not going to freak out about it. All right, so down with that. All right. I don't know if anybody actually muted or not, but yeah. And MLP, please don't put the rumor in the chat because there may be people that don't want to know. The cabin's been in numerous movies. I did not know that. Number one says there's also more and more rumors about how Star Trek Picard and Star Trek Discovery will be linked. I know, and that's a bad idea. Commander Sutter says, Anti-Trigger, I was listening to your stream this morning, had a thought. Instead of wording portions of the Bible for units and currency, you could do a conversion in the footnote. You could, but nobody ever reads the footnotes. That's a problem. And, oh my God, Bird of Prey is the villain in Picard is a rumor. Yeah, Thomas, you're not supposed to talk about that. Yeah. Anyway. MLP says, oops, well, that's okay. And by the way, thank you. Aberjam deleted the comment. Obviously, no prejudice against you. Just wanted to keep that out of the comments so that nobody would get mad. I'm thinking 7 and 9 becoming makeshift queen is a terrible idea. I don't know how they're going to do, it kind of looks like that in the trailer, but it might be something totally different. So I'm not going to judge until, like I said, and I said this about Picard all along, until I see the actual episode, I'm not going to form an opinion on it. I don't care how good or bad something looks, because I'll tell you, if I was just going by preconceived notions, I would have thought that episode 7, was it? The Riker episode should be the best episode, because I loved the idea of him seeing Riker again. And the Picard and Riker moments were awesome, but it was still the worst episode of the series so far. So, yeah. All right. And Death Dealer says, he did. I can still see it. That's because you created the comment. but Aberjam actually deleted it so that nobody else can see it. Holy crap, but I can still see it and you can still see it. Holy crap, I thought that was a raven on your shoulder. A raven on my shoulder? Oh, my hair? Mr. Captain just got back from a Star Trek cruise. Very cool, my friend. I'm insanely jealous. All right, so... And Prince of Darkness says, I usually go by Tubian323, but YouTube isn't letting me comment in streams for some reason. Do you have any idea why that happened? No, Tubian, I've seen you around, obviously. So check whatever email you have linked to your YouTube account. If there was some kind of strike against you, it should be there. Most likely, the only thing I can think of that could cause something like that is if you said something that someone else found offensive and they flagged you. Like getting your message deleted, like what Aberjam did earlier to Death Dealer, that doesn't do anything. But if somebody flags your comment as being harassment or hate speech or something like that, then you could get in trouble. So, but they're supposed to let you know what's going on. So I would definitely check the your email that you have tied to the Tubian323 account. Dad says, I hope Picard doesn't lead to the control AI. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Ensign Ricky says, remember Ensign Island where all your dreams come true. Yeah, Aberjam. You should come up with an anthem for Ensign Ricky Island. You only need to use one word. You just use... Lord Reloaded was mass cloned as the Romulan super weapon. My God, that rumor is scary. That is a scary one. Mr. Cat says, great stories. Fill you in later this week. I can't wait. I'm jealous. At least Bird only edits my words. You just skip them all together. I'm starting to think you're censoring me. I am not censoring you, Aberjam. You're just having a bad day. And actually, I'm having a bad day. Picard, props, and Star Trek Discovery. Would you like to see the pics? Maybe for video, really interesting stuff. Picard props and Star Trek Discovery. Oh, you mean that sure, yeah, that'd be cool. You can send them to me on Twitter or on Discord. About that rumor, I heard long ago, but I threw it out when he beamed down to Free Cloud. Yeah, me too. So yeah. And SC says, why is some continuity between Picard and Discovery a bad thing? Well, continuity is fine. But what they're trying to do, here's the thing. They're going to basically pretend that the entire history of Star Trek is Discovery and Picard. There'll be no references to things that happened in the other 5 shows that fill up the bulk of Federation history. Will admit the best part of Picard, and probably the only reason I watch is nostalgia. I love seeing Riker and Troy again. Frakes nailed it with the old Riker. Oh, I love old Riker. I just didn't like the other stuff. The episode just completely falls apart anytime you look at it. Tom says, did you hear Hugh had the dagger in his deck before the Romulan threw it? I did. I didn't see it, but someone told me that the other day. I'm going to look at it frame by frame and see if I can spot it. Anyway, so let me take a minute to show you the donuts. So someone mentioned, I think it's Blender Guru, has a great tutorial if you want to learn Blender. And what he does is he walks you through 3D modeling and rendering a donut and a cup of coffee. So I started doing some of the tutorial, and I 3D modeled a donut. And then I said, you know what? I could 3D print a donut, right? So I took the donut, and let me bring it up. Do I have Blender open? Probably. Oh, let's see, I do. And all right, make sure that's saved. And then open. And where's the Blender crap? 3D printer models. Blender. There it is. Donut. Alright, so let's see if I can make this work. Wrong screen, of course. Alright, so here is the 3D donut in Blender. This is the actual donut that I modeled doing the tutorial. Now it's probably going to screw up the audio sync. You just wait. All right, so get rid of that. So this was my first attempt at printing said donut. And you can see the shape is there. Overall, you can tell that this is a donut. But you can also see the print is kind of rough, especially on the top. Lot of artifacts on the top, stringing and such. So the icing looks pretty bad. The sides don't look too bad. And then the bottom looks okay. So here's the problem, is that while I'm better at the 3D modeling side than I am at the 3D printing side. So I decided to import some preset settings for my particular printer, the Ender 3 Pro. And so I didn't change anything about the model. I didn't change anything about the scaling of the model or anything like that. All I did was import a new set of printer settings to see what I would get. And I ended up with this donut. Now, keep in mind, neither of these have been properly cleaned. Like, I haven't done any sanding or anything like that, or removing stuff with pliers or anything. This is just me picking the supports off with my bare hands. And you can, in fact, see a significant difference between the two. There, you get the autofocus to work. The top is much smoother on the second one than the first one, although you can still see some strange lines. Those are layer lines, basically. You could sand those out. Sides are much cleaner. As far as the frosting, the overhang on the frosting, not as rough. Bottom is still, that's what you see there is just it's sticking to the build plate. No big deal. But then someone told me that you really need to print stuff at a 45-degree angle for it to come out best. So I tried to do that in the first attempt. Well, it failed. And so it cut off. But I did a second attempt. And this is the same donut printed at a 45-degree angle on the printer. No other changes except for changing the angle. And you can see much smoother on the top. Generally speaking, definitely the best print of the bunch. So that is my adventures 3D printing a donut. So after the Trek Yards logo, I'm going to probably re-attempt to print this cube that came out horribly because I didn't know anything about the settings. And the bottom of this is completely toast. So I'll probably redo the cube at a 45-degree angle and see how that comes out. Actually, I guess the ideal way to print the cube would be like that. Although I don't know if it would stay up on the printer. And then, yeah, but that's after the Trek Yards thing is done. Well, let's see, where were we? Thomas says, did you hear, oh, I already read that. All right. Fed says, I also enjoyed the fact that Picard was sort of poked some meta fun at these new characters and their angst. That was a nice touch, I'll admit. There's some good stuff in there, yes. I hope they somehow put Discovery in their own universe. I hate that it's primetime canon. I do too. That's the problem. Discovery does not fit into canon at all. The only way I can see it really, really working is, honestly, to have the Discovery in the future stop the temporal Cold War that Enterprise was dealing with, and in stopping it, it resets the timeline, and then they end up back in the 10 years before the original series, but everything looks like it did in the original series. That should be the last episode, should end with that, and no Michael Burnham. I hope they somehow put Discovery... I already read that. I found a 3D model of Rios' ship. Very cool. I have not. But I'm not a big fan of the ship, but that is cool. Currently, me and a 3D modeler, a professional 3D modeler, are working on the Anti-Trekker ship. And it's not exactly a Star Trek ship. I really think Discovery referenced the TOS era and... Picard, obviously the TNG. No reason we can't tie it all together. They tied Kirk to TNG rather poorly, but they did. Well, Discovery doesn't reference the TOS era because Discovery takes place prior to the TOS era. Mike Richards said, don't kill the stream again. I will try not to. Picard Titpit, Jonathan Del Arco was on the cruise. He wanted the first line Hugh said to Picard was, how's my friend Geordi? He was told he can't and it doesn't fit the plan. That's too bad. Yeah, he should have. He really should have said, how's Geordi? Because Geordi was his best friend. 3D donut in Blender, indeed. Let's see. Ignore continuity, secret to sci-fi sanity. Well, that's how Steve Shives does it. Me says, CG Geek teaches you how to make an ice cream cone. Yeah, I saw that. I'm actually looking. I'm going to probably do that tutorial because the way he does the ice cream is very similar to how I would do a turd, and that would be rather handy. And let's see. Ah, yes, thank you. I do see that. Mr. Miles sent the picture of Hugh with the dagger hanging out of his neck. Darren says, I remember when you used to print cool things like starships and Daleks. Now it's donuts. Well, Daleks and starships are coming, but I'm relearning how to do this. I'm trying to do it properly. Jeez, give me a break, jerk. By the way, Darren, check out what I said on the group Discord, the creators Discord. I need your help there so I can get that video done. So singing, I'm a 3D model, you know what I mean, and I do spin, I do my little spin. I'm a 3D model, you know what I mean, yes. Right, said Fred. What a freak that guy was, but hilarious that song. Tom says, remember earlier you didn't know about the woman pharaohs. Didn't you 3D print Mrs. Antrick and Nefertiti? I did. But was she a fair? Here's the thing. Like you mentioned Nefertiti, you mentioned Cleopatra, but you know what people never say? Pharaoh Nefertiti. Pharaoh Cleopatra. Nobody ever says that. Right? So I would have no idea that they were actual pharaohs. But what do the donuts taste like? They would taste like a corn-based plastic product. Dreamers out there says, Shaban said in an interview, one reason things are how they are is the Dominion War. He was going to say it in the show. Colleagues talked him out of it in case people hadn't seen anything except TNG. That's a lame-ass excuse, and I'm sorry, the Dominion War wouldn't cause them to use ships from the Discovery era. Mexican Iron Man throws $14.99 into the chat. Thank you so much, Mexican Iron Man. And says, breaking news, mystery as to why no Mexicans exist in Star Trek Future versus now solved. History Channel ancient alien theorists discover evidence of Mexican abductions to work Carogan uranium mines. Aha! Well, you know, that actually makes sense, but what we have to do then, Mexican Iron Man, and I didn't realize there were so many Mexican orphans in the Carogan mines, so the nation of Turkestan will dedicate themselves to freeing not only Aberjam, but the Mexican orphans in the Carogan mines because of all the abductions. Well, they're not even orphans; they're just Mexicans. So yeah, we gotta do something about that. Anyway, I think Shaban he didn't give a crap about canon. And so I mean it's pretty obvious. But the Dominion War wouldn't explain it because the aesthetic. If you look at the aesthetic of both Discovery and Picard, they're almost identical. And guess what? They only match one other thing in Trek, and that's the JJ films, the Kelvin universe. Using the view windows instead of view screens is the biggest giveaway to that. They all use that. You don't see any freaking view screens on the new Star Trek shows. But everybody had view screens on every other Star Trek show. Tom says, how easy is it to break a 3D object? Depends on how much infill you have. Like these donuts I have are pretty solid. Like, see, I can't break it. Now, granted, I'm not super duper strong, but if you look on the failed print, you can see I have a lot of infill. Some people it's considered a waste to have this much infill, but so that's what the interior of it looks like. It's got a grid of plastic as supports to hold it together, and yeah, I physically couldn't break it. Now on this, on the one that I did with the original settings before I learned anything about it, I can feel it crack a little bit, but I still can't quite break it. This cube, I'll bet you I could, I could definitely squash this cube, but this is also a failed print and the infill is terrible in it. So, yeah, this I could definitely rip apart. All right. Discovery exists as one of those stories from the backstories mirrored universe. Aberjam says, next 3D project, Carogan cell key. We'll get you one, man. We will get you one. Fluggeril says, NCC anti-sugar. Actually, it's going to have a registry of SF-23. That will be the registry of the USS Anti-Trucker. Fed says, a less perfect union will be a story you'd enjoy. It deals with what would happen if Terra Prime 1 and that timeline lasted to the TOS era. To me, it seems like that would lead to something much like the Mirror Universe, actually. It seems to me Pike and Spock were TOS era, no? Yes, but things were pre-TOS Pike and Spock. I mean, you could say that there's a link. I mean, the whole thing was set up that Michael Burnham is the inspiration for all things good. But to have a direct tie-in to TOS, like, they don't make reference to events in TOS, and in fact, they crap on events that happen in TOS. For example, Lorca has a Gorn in his closet, literally the skeleton of a Gorn in his closet. And he explains to Michael Burnham how the Gorn are these awesome reptilian creatures. Even though the first contact of the Federation with the Gorn was Captain Kirk. 11 years later. Now, some people try to explain, well, Lorca was from the Mirror Universe. Yes, and Lorca didn't bring a Gorn skeleton with him. He didn't go on a cruise to our universe. Anyway, the beauty of the rebooted 1701 also too, that, you know what? No, that is an abomination to the 1701. I'm sorry, SC. Don't get me wrong, I don't dislike you, but I disagree with you. Because while it is a well-made ship, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the Discovery 1701 was ugly, but it ain't the original Enterprise. Instead, they decided that they wanted to change everything just for the sake of change. And that pisses me off. Because you know what, if you look at episodes of DS9 like Trials and Tribulations, or you look at In a Mirror Darkly from Enterprise, you can recreate the original series aesthetic and it looks freaking awesome. However, they made the technology in Discovery better than the technology in Next Gen, and yet we're still 11 years prior to the original series, and so they're just, well, you know, that's just a retcon. Well, I'm sorry, I don't like it. Edson Ricky says, I can't see how people are comparing the Expanse, Rossonautis, to Picard's Lacerda. They don't even remotely look like each other inside or out. No, they don't. The only similarity between the Rossi and the whatever you call Rios' ship is the fact that from the area that you would call like the cockpit of the ship, which on the Rossi really only seats one guy, but seats everybody on the Picard ship, has a gantry and a stairwell that goes down to the lower area. But on the Rossi, the main deck is the lower area, and on the Picard ship, the main deck is the upper area. I mean, they're completely different layouts. Did you hear about Shatner's divorce? Picard had a saddle, Kirk has the horse semen. Yeah, I did hear about the divorce, and I understand why he would have the horse semen. I know it sounds hilarious, and they made a joke about it on Saturday Night Live, but that, Shatner is a professional horse breeder, and that horse semen is probably worth a fortune because it's from horses that are of very preferred stock. Carogan sounds too close to Carogan Petty. Sure, no, Krogan. Pretty sure Krogan don't want to be confused with them, as they are not a race bird of prey, should piss off. That's true. Brent Spiner also said he never said he'd never do Data. He said he would do it if the right story arose. He has no issue with Data aging. He said in TNG Data has an aging chip. It was said in TNG Data has an aging chip. Nowhere in TNG do they say Data has an aging chip. I'm sorry, and don't get me wrong, I'm not, if Brent Spiner is going back, and he flat out said he didn't want Data to look old. He has said that. He's been on the record saying that. Now, he may have changed his mind now that they handed him a nice fat paycheck for being on Picard. But there is no reference to Data having an aging chip in TNG. Now, if there is, I will be more than happy to eat my words. but I challenge you to find where Data says he has a data chip or an aging chip. Why do you make me go to Discord? I just checked in and you haven't asked me anything since my last post. I put an at everyone. Taco Turnistan Thursdays. That sounds yummy. Well, the problem with the current Trek to me, say Picard, that they think audiences are too dumb or can't Google things, so they won't mention things like DS9, thinking no one saw it. Well, and that's the thing. They don't understand Trekkies and Trekkers. They really don't. Because, we'll argue about whether or not we think Deep Space Nine is better than the original series or TNG or Voyager or whatever. We'll fight about that stuff all day long, but we all care about the continuity of the universe. Very few people are saying, oh, wow, Voyager shouldn't count. Because I didn't like Voyager as much as I liked Deep Space Nine. Because they're not in conflict with each other. But this new Trek is in direct conflict with classic Trek. And so it's kind of forcing fans to make a choice. Either ignore continuity completely, accept that the original stuff as basically this is a reboot of Trek, or this is some kind of alternate reality, or they're just retconning everything. Says Dunkin' Donuts better than my donut. Well, as far as edibility, I would agree with you. Ensign Ricky says, Ensign's Island welcomed all orphans everywhere. Our 23rd president was a former Carogan slave orphan. Yeah, you say that, and yet it's not true. I looked it up. Your 23rd president was you. And your 22nd president was you. And your 21st president was you. I think there's something not right in Ensign's Island. IKS Pachfu, the Turkestan Empire flagship. Mexican Iron Man says, damn good point on the Gorn reference. Thank you. SC says the Gorn was part of the Discovery files that were classified. Really? So nobody had, that's here's the problem with that. You're telling me that not only, because I can understand classifying the spore drive, but you're going to classify the existence of a hostile reptilian race on the border of Federation space just before you build an outpost there? Which means that Starfleet knew all along that they were invading invading Gorn space when they built their outpost on Cestus 3. They knew all along that was an incursion against the Gorn, but it was classified, so they didn't say anything. Star Trek Story makes a direct reference to Enterprise and TOS with USS Defiant ending up in the Mirror Universe, except that the only thing we see of the USS Defiant in the Mirror Universe doesn't look anything like the USS Defiant. Again, they just have to change everything. Yes, they say the event happened. I will give you that much. But when they looked at the Defiant on the freaking view screen, what the hell was that they were even looking at? It was so ugly that they had to redesign the Enterprise. Ozzy says, I think Discovery was meant to be Section 31 based show. They changed their mind, and that's why all the canon violations. I agree, Ozzy. I actually do agree on that. I think that the fact that the registry of the ship was NCC 1031 is very telling. I think that, and the fact that in the third episode, the first episode set on Discovery herself, someone actually makes a comment about all the black badges, which, of course, not until season 2 are canonized as meaning Section 31. And so that means, and remember, in season 1, episode 3, and go back and watch it, you see this badge on half the frickin' crew. This badge indicates you are in Section 31. But then they just kind of forgot. Thomas says your screen is missing something. Oh, probably. There we go. I got the tip jar there. I apologize. And Auntie is downstairs. She's sleeping right now. That's why she's not there. If you want, I can bring up Bird, too. Man, I'm far behind. Let's see. Tubian says, don't break the cube. It's the chemical distillation of Ensign Red shirt. Well, I will try to remember that. Oh, yeah, you're right. Liking stuff cannot be a guideline for canon. There should be some huge holes in continuity, there will be huge holes in continuity. Liking stuff cannot be a guideline for canon. It's not about liking it. It's about, and here's the thing I see, and by the way, let me make sure I make this perfectly clear. I don't, because we, as far as I know, we haven't really gotten into it on this, but I am not suggesting that the canon violations are the reason that Star Trek Discovery is an inferior show. It is a massive problem with the timeline that they chose and the storyline they chose. But the reason that I think Discovery is a bad show is its very premise. It's centered around an incredibly bad character, namely Michael Burnham. And anybody that knows anything about writing generally agrees that Michael Burnham is a horribly written character. She is absolutely horrible. She is almost the very definition of a Mary Sue. Mr. Miles, also the tip jar. Well, yeah, the tip jar is there. And what did Ms. Miles say? Oh, it's Auntie. Oh, yeah, the Auntie is not here with me. I wish she was, but she's downstairs. Not trying to piss you off, man. It's cool. You're one of the few hardline trekkers I like. Well, that's all good, SC. I'm friends with lots of people that like Discovery, hate Discovery. I don't judge a person just because they may disagree with me. Except for Tentacle Pentacle, because he's just a dick. Oh, speaking of which, Tentacle Pentacle says Data doesn't age, but he did put gray in his hair to make himself look older and all good things. That's true. However, that was also an alternate timeline. But that I will give you that Data put the gray in his hair because he felt that it would make him look more sophisticated. But then why didn't he have the gray in his hair in his little cameo in Picard? Dreams out there. The episode where they find Data's mom, they say that she ages the same way Data does. It's stated in the episode his age is in appearance. I'll have to check that out. I don't remember that, but if you're right, you're right. I will rewatch that episode when I get some time. Brent said the episode where Bashir was on the Enterprise when they visited DS9. I don't remember that one. Yeah, I'm drawing a complete blank. The only thing TNG said about Data could age for the length of his hair when he's thinking about growing a beard. Yet, the old shows are on CBS All Access. That is true. You would think that he wouldn't. And Aberjam puts a link in here. Let's see what that's. Data ages.
Does. Sweat glands. Even veins and capillaries underneath her skin.
Why does the scanner read her as human?
Because she has a feedback processor designed to send out a false biosignal.
Part of her aging program. Not only does she age in appearance like Data, her vital signs change too.
Well, there you go. I'll give you credit there. Although Brent Spiner's saying that he has an aging chip is a load of crap. But they did say he ages, so I will give you that. There's an episode where Data says he had a program to simulate aging. Well, no, it was actually Geordi that said it. But yeah, I got it. Me says, Antrack can make his own game to battle Bird of Prey. Well, I actually want to make some chess pieces on the 3D printer. Just finished another Daniel Star Trek cast with my co-host Jacob. Awesome, Daniel. Hope it went well. NCC 1031 because Fuller likes Halloween. Seriously. I wouldn't be surprised. They even gave Discovery 1031. Yes, that's the thing. I really do think that it was meant to be a Section 31 show. Mike says, honestly, wasn't expecting that. Excellent response. Oh, that's to Mike. It said, pour some hot fudge on it? What? To what? Oh, it doesn't feel like Sunday. Ha, I got it. What's with Laura showing pictures of white phaser on YouTube? He said that he ordered that phaser from someone for a prop for his fan film. But honestly, I don't know why you would do that. There are plenty of really good phaser props you can get that aren't that expensive. And if he ordered a custom 3D printed one and it's not even painted and it looks horrible, I mean, heck, I could have made that for him. All he would have to do is give me a phone call. About your Discord message, I don't know anybody. I'll see what I can do. No, you just gotta, like, do whatever, man. You know. Tim says, death to Caroga. Indeed, my friend, death to Caroga. Let me see, where is death to Caroga? We haven't listened to death to Caroga.
Death to Caroga!
Yes, thank you, Chancellor. The Disco is a science ship testing crazy new propulsion system like testing the SR-71 crew made up of some standard military and Area 51 types. Yeah, I could see that, but the problem is, and honestly, this is the only problem with having all the black badges in Episode 3, is that for the entirety of Season 2 and the rest of Season 1, those people are never mentioned again. They are never mentioned again, not once. Instead, we go from, wow, look at all the people with black badges, to Georgiou showing off her black badge a year later. And Pike going, oh, you're in covert ops. But nobody else apparently was. MLP says, not only is she arrogant, rude, condescending, and insubordinate towards her superiors, she is unbecoming of a Starfleet officer. Indeed, I agree. I wish Discovery was NCC 0401, April 1st, spin, Spock, spin. Actually, how about NCC 420? Since they do have a spore garden. About Data's mother aging, it stated in the episode she was made after Data and was using more advanced programs. Yes, but basically what Geordi said in that clip that I played was not only does she physically age like Data, but she other systems simulate aging as well. It's even worse than Burnham being a bad character because they made her the best at the end of season 1, lecturing Starfleet on how to beat Starfleet. Well, that's the thing. She is a Mary Sue. She is absolutely a Mary Sue. And it's like, I understand, if you like the show subjectively, that's perfectly fine. Anybody can like or dislike it just based on their own personal taste. But it's just not, it just doesn't, it just doesn't gel. It just doesn't fit with Trek. Further, the biggest problem, although, with new Trek, as far as Discovery and Picard, and you guys already know what I'm going to say, at least the ones that watch all my live streams. The single biggest problem with new Trek is the fact that the writers are nihilists. And Trek is supposed to be the opposite of nihilism. Thomas says, Father Time is a jerk. You need more time, and he takes an hour away. Indeed. Dreamer says, you are correct. They comment on having never seen a black badge before. They comment on never having seen black badges before in episode 1 of Disco, and then there was Section 31 guards in the hall, and then they just vanished. Yeah! Dave says, Andy Tracker, repeat after me, please. Avery Brooks, please return as Captain Sisko. What? Just let him rest, man. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. Do you know what Loris fan film is about? No clue. He hasn't talked to me about it. But he's been very busy. I know he's trying to get his house ready to sell. His kids have been sick. He's been dealing with a lot of crap. So, he and I talk every now and then, but not that often. I wish we both had more time, but we just don't. Aging chip, aging program, you're nitpicking. Spiner, what's right? Well, I conceded the point that he ages, but, he sounded like, oh, yeah, let me plug in my aging chip. Tentacle says, Data doesn't age, his mother does. Wrong answer, Tentacle. And this time, you're asking at the wrong time because I got the proof right here. So just take a listen, my friend.
Her skin.
Why does the scanner read her as human?
Because she has a feedback processor designed to send out a false biosignal.
Part of her aging program. Not only does she age in appearance like Data, her vital signs change too.
Not only does she age in appearance like Data, her vital signs change too. Yes, Data ages. And by the way, Tentacle, I said what you said when we first started this whole thing, so, I had to admit I was wrong, so you can admit you're wrong now. Fed says, pretty sure I asked the question, but in your opinion, how would the restoration of Trek be done given all the stupidity of CBS? How might it return to the golden age of Trek? Just like what I said a few minutes ago, the Fed, number one, in season 3 of Discovery, you find out, they're 900 years in the future, they find out that the temporal Cold War is going on, they hunt down the big bad, whoever the mysterious person was that Archer was talking to, let's have a reveal of whoever or whatever that is, and they finally take that person out. stopping the temporal Cold War. They destroy the time displacement equipment, and when they do that, it sends a ripple through time. Then the last thing we see is a shot of the Discovery coming towards the camera, and it looks like the Discovery should freaking look like. It looks like Discovery in the TOS era. We then go into the bridge. We see the crew wearing classic uniforms. We see classic jelly bean button controls. Everything looks like the original series. The only thing missing is Michael Burnham, because she sacrifices herself to destroy the time displacement equipment, which means she is erased from history, making her the single greatest sacrifice in all of Trek, and nobody will ever know she ever existed. You do that, Trek is fixed. You can then do another show taking place in whatever year you want. Valor says, you are better at explaining things. Could you explain the difference between the JJ Trek Enterprise crew compared to their original Enterprise crew? Yeah, the JJ Enterprise crew was basically what if millennials wrote Star Trek. I mean, even though Kurtzman and stuff aren't millennials. By the way, Kurtzman did co-write the first, I think the first 2 Star Trek films. But along with Orsi, but as far as like Kirk, the problem is that you could tell it was written by people who knew who Kirk was, but wasn't necessarily a big fan of Kirk. Contrary to popular belief, Kirk did not sleep with every woman in the universe. Kirk was not a womanizer. However, Kirk did fall in love several times on the show. And there were a couple of times where he would do his duty, so to speak, in order to get necessary information or convince the enemy of his loyalty, that kind of thing. But he wasn't like this, he wasn't Riker just chasing every skirt that he saw. However, the J.J. Abrams Kirk, he was the horn dog that everybody thought Kirk was. So what do we see? In the first movie, we get to see that he actually did have sex with a green woman, even though everybody had the joke that Kirk would sleep with a green chick, but he never did in the original series. Well, now he did, of course. And then in the second movie, that's not enough. Let's have him sleeping with 2 cat ladies at the same time. Why not, right? So basically, you have someone who's working with the stereotypes of some of these characters. Spock, Zachary Quinto did a semi-decent job with Spock, but here's the problem. In the original series, and this is where, if you know a little bit about Spock, you know that he's tormented a little bit by being half Vulcan, half human, and so he's always trying to keep his human side in check. But in the JJ universe, Spock, snaps. It's so easy to piss Spock off. All Kirk had to do was tell him about his mother, and Spock tried to beat the living crap out of him. And then they killed Kirk, so Spock decided to beat the living crap out of Khan. Spock is a freaking psychopath in the JJ universe. Right? McCoy, they did a pretty good job with McCoy. I gotta say, Carl Urban, I think, did a fantastic job as McCoy. Scotty, I don't even know who the hell Simon Pegg was playing, but it sure as hell wasn't Scotty. And I'm sorry, Simon Pegg, that's all I got to say to you. And Uhura suddenly having an affair with Spock, huh? Now, don't get me wrong, it's not completely implausible, because in the original series, Uhura would flirt with Spock from time to time. However, going to full-on relationship and stuff, and all of a sudden she becomes misimportant and everything because we can't have her just do the comms, because everybody's got to be, let's amp up the PC quotient. So, yeah. There's my quick rundown. Oh, and Chekhov was not 17 years old. And it's really sad about what happened to Anton Yeltsin. But, and he did a fine job for what he was given, but that wasn't freaking Chekhov. That was just some random Russian kid. Sulu, again, here's how bad it is with stereotypes. So they make Sulu gay in the JJ films, not because Sulu was gay, but because George Takei is gay. And even George Takei got pissed off about that. So there you go. You're talking about Data's fake mother and not Data. Yeah, that's true, but That's, well, as far as in that scene, both Data and his mother was there. The JJ verse is a reboot in separate timelines. Fans shot themselves. So unless Discovery recreated the 60s era sets, people would shite themselves. But who else but Trek nerds would watch? First of all, SC, nobody's watching except Trek nerds. Star Trek is never going to be freaking Star Wars, and they proved that with these JJ films. The first two did okay, the third one was a complete bomb. If you don't get the Trekkies on board, it won't matter. And you think that nobody would watch it just because it's got the classic look to it? Sorry, wrong answer. And Ensign Ricky throws a couple of bucks in, says, got a response for the 7th rule, check Discord. Oh, very cool. Let me see, what did you... where is it? Did you put it in like the creator chat? Okay, yes, I see. Tuesday. Very cool, very cool. Let's see. So, I mean, let me, after the show, I'll digest that a little bit and read it, but sounds cool. I don't want to just, like, I don't want to read it out loud, obviously. But yeah, we could get 2 interviews out of it. That'd be awesome. So, but yeah, we definitely need to get some stuff set up. So we'll talk later.
Hello.
And thank you. You put 2 more bucks in. Ensign Ricky, you're feeling generous today. Thank you. Darren says, one of the problems with new Trek is that the writers seem to think that high academic scores are equal to experience and they get you instant respect bordering on worship. That is true. Mikey Spock also started a war that never happened in TOS, and instead of rotting in prison or shot for it, she was reinstated in Starfleet. Well, actually, I will disagree with you in part on that, Valor. First of all, her name is Michael Burnham. I know that Mikey Spock is a popular thing to call her, but, you know, we don't have to make silly names for them to make the show look bad. But when Michael Burnham did not start a war with the Klingons, she was going to try to prevent a war by being aggressive towards the Klingons, and she was stopped. She had 0 impact on the war. I think I just developed a nihilist liver cancer. Tim says, you know what else they forgot? The era of all the ships had their own insignia in TOS. Why are they all supporting the arrowhead? Yeah, that's another problem. That is another problem, is that they absolutely should have had different, especially since, you know, the Discovery. Now, you could argue that this is a little bit different than the standard Delta shield, which I would be okay with if you saw people from other ships would have something different than that. But they didn't do that. Daniel says, I hope they bring Chakotay to Picard Season 2. Chakotay was way better character than Riker. I disagree. Chakotay was not... well, actually, Chakotay kind of was the worst character in Gen 2 of Trek. I don't think the actor did a bad job with what he was given, but Chakotay was a walking, talking stereotype. He was literally a walking, talking stereotype. That's all. They threw together random crap that they read about Native Americans. And so, not a fan of that. Alright, so Tentacle says, Data's head is 300 years older than his body. How do you square that he ages? Alright, Tentacle. I will try one more time.
Age and appearance like Data. Her vital signs program. Not only does she age and appearance like Data, not only does she age and appearance like Data, not only does she age and appearance like Data, her vital signs change too.
Bam. That's all I can say. Look, I understand what you're saying, but his head was kind of deactivated for those 300 years, so it didn't age during that time. And even even if it was just an error in judgment for them to do that, doesn't matter. It is in fact stated by Geordi in canon that Data ages in appearance. Therefore, you could have Data appear in Picard if Brent Spiner wants to. I was just so Spider was saying that Data ages. So what if he couldn't remember the exact method of his aging 20 years after the fact? I just take the L like man, dude, like a man. Just take the L like a man. I take the L, man. I admitted it. Maybe it's just because of my personal feelings about Brent Spiner. Maybe that must be it. I met him once. Didn't honestly came off as a jerk, but maybe he's a nicer guy now. Maybe I just caught him on a bad day. James says, that's not nihilistic enough, Antracker. Where's the failure of humanity, the overwhelming emotion and pain? Shut up. Fire Kurtzman, hire McFarlane equals Trek better. It would, but it's not going to happen. The Suliban benefactor is a Romulan. I happen to notice that during a scene he had pointed ears. Well, there's been speculation that it's a Romulan. There's also been speculation that it is actually Archer in the future. Which, wouldn't that be interesting if they actually had Scott Bakula play Future Guy? Tubian says, that would be a great ending for Discovery, which means it won't happen. Daniel says, wow, Andy Trekker, you are a wonderful story planner. Thank you. Data can change his appearance to simulate aging. It's cosmetic. He can make himself look older or younger. Data did say, in theory, he could last forever. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that could Brent Spiner still realistically play Data? Yes, he could. And what's that? And let me see. I don't know if I can. I don't know how long this is, but Mr. Miles sent me a
I have
phone.
often wondered about my own mortality, as I have seen others around me age. Until now, it has been theoretically possible that I would live an unlimited period of time. And although some might find this attractive, to me it only reinforces the fact that I am artificial.
I never knew how tough this must be for you.
Oh, there you go. And we'll see if CBS shuts down the stream. All right, let's see. A non-womanizer would use a condom. You do realize when Star Trek was produced, right? Have you seen the Spock Audi commercial? Yes. It was cute. SC says the JJ verse was meant to be different. People they had very different upbringings. I understand that the JJ. Here's the thing, and don't get me wrong. When I rail on Discovery, it's different than when I rail on JJ. First of all, would everybody be radically different? No, Kirk would be for sure, and so I could definitely forgive the changes to Kirk himself. Although I cannot forgive the changes they made to Starfleet, where they promote a freaking cadet to be first officer overnight. However, that being said, I don't have a problem with Kirk being different because of the alternate timeline. I also appreciate that they came up with an in-universe explanation for rebooting everything. So I didn't have a problem with the technology of the Enterprise being different. I didn't have a problem with the general look of things being different. I really didn't. I didn't like it that much. Like, I think that the JJ Enterprise is the second ugliest Enterprise of all Enterprises. But I still think that, well, maybe it is the ugliest. I really hate those warp pylons. Anyway, but the JJ, the universe changes I can definitely buy. The character changes, to a point, I can buy. But certain things that don't add up, like Chekhov being a different age, Scotty being nothing like his other self, that I have a problem with. So that's kind of where I kind of get a little wiggy about it. But overall, I actually enjoyed Star Trek 2009 and Star Trek Into Darkness. I hated Star Trek Beyond. I always felt the Discovery was written by and for SJWs, and like Marvel Comics and every company that panders to SJWs fail or does extremely poorly. That's sadly true. I don't know how Michael Burnham acts. She's rude, disrespectful, and backtalks to the captain, where someone like Riker would never show such disrespect. Well, anybody and anybody who's served in the military will tell you, you're as disrespectful as Michael Burnham is, and you would end up in irons. Darren says, if Burnham can be forgiven for insubordination and mutiny, then so can Captain Maxwell from The Wounded, since he turned out to be right about the Cardis. Yeah. I mean, and not only that, but I mean, come on. Oh, that's another thing, by the way, for Discovery Defenders. It is canonical that there's never been a mutiny on a starship. And before you argue that, well, they made it all classified, I'm sorry, but they couldn't make the entire Klingon War classified. They couldn't make the existence of the Discovery classified. However, what they could classify is all the spore drive information. But are you seriously going to say that Starfleet just, said, oh no, none of those people ever existed? Captain Lorca? No, he didn't exist. Tilly? No, she didn't exist. United M48 Tactical Warhammer with Vortex Sheath is the best choice. Ah, Darren, wait till you see the Crawford class ship, the Anti-Trekker. You're gonna love it, Darren. At least I hope you do. So 7 will assimilate herself and become the new Borg Queen. When people get assimilated, they lose their hair. Does that mean 7 will lose her blonde hair and sideburns? We shall see. Assuming that that's actually what happens. Age and appearance is not real age. It's simulated changes. That's not the point, Tentacle. That's, now, honestly, Tentacle, now you're coming across as just being a dick. You are arguing just to argue. Data could probably de-age himself. He probably could. Does Betty White age, or is she always old-looking? Well, she's freaking in her 90s, so she's been old since I was young. People call Georgiou Space Hitler, but the Trekkies forgot about Gul Dukat. No, Georgiou is worse than Gul Dukat. Gul Dukat was a narcissist and all that, but he actually believed he was trying to help the Bajorans. Nothing in that clip about Data not aging. Yeah, I know, but that's just about him being concerned about about being around forever. But there, and I understand, physically he appears to age, but he could theoretically last forever. Condoms predate Star Trek by several centuries. I don't understand your point there. But they would never be able to use them on television. The mystery person from the future is probably Burnham. That would actually be kind of funny too. There's another thing, absolutely zero nuance with these types of things. Kirk either is the embodiment of a womanizer, or Picard is weak, pitiful, liberal male, not even a man. That is, there is no nuance. And yeah, but I'll say this. Picard's character feels more in line with Picard than Kirk from 2009 felt like Kirk to me. I think this does feel like it's Jean-Luc Picard as an old man. And you know what? The fact that he's getting called out on his sheer effing hubris all the time, I'm actually okay with. Because that was Picard's big weak point, is his sheer effing hubris. Second Fleet Actual says, just to get a laugh, I got me a 6-pack of coronavirus with Lyme's disease. Darren says, I'm a big fan of the Constellations class, so I was really bummed when you said you were redesigning the USS Anti-Checker. Oh, don't be, my friend. It's still the same basic shape, all right? But we're completely rebuilding it from the ground up. It's going to be in a different era than before. And I think you'll appreciate it. I think you more than most, Darren, will appreciate it. Is the Anti-Checker an Enterprise, Battlestar, or Rocinante hybrid? No. If anything, you could call it an Enterprise, Orville, Battlestar, Star Fury hybrid. So far. Darren says, so I guess Data can regenerate like the Doctor from Doctor Who. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Yeah, they could. They could recast him that way. Georgiou wasn't a bad person in her universe. Yeah, she was. She was a horrible... She was Hitler in her universe. She was the Empress of the evil empire. She ate freaking Kelpians. Gul Dukat was a great character. My favorite Trek villain, and they're... up there next to Ricardo Montalban's Khan. I actually think Gul Dukat was a better character than Khan. Khan was awesome, but we didn't develop him enough. Dukat was a truly fleshed out character. We'll find out Picard is actually Dr. Crusher. And Jaren puts a link to the M48 Tactical Warhammer. I assume that's the hammer you showed me earlier. I disagree. Picard feels nothing like OG Picard, and Patrick even said he would only play Picard again if he was totally different. No, I know. Here's the thing. He's different, But I think that if you look at him, I feel like he's the same guy. But here's what happened. Picard was there when at the beginning when we go to Encounter at Farpoint, and Starfleet was every bit the pacifist utopian military, pseudo-military that Picard believed in. By the end of Star Trek Nemesis, Starfleet was a full-on military. Picard was wearing Picard was kind of a badass, and everything had changed. That's not Picard's way. Picard would object to this. And so, and then finally, he had enough. And by the way, no, this is not a Vulcan / Starfleet tracking device. It's not glowing, and I'm not going to chew on it. Thomas says, is the Anti-Tracker a ship with 4 submarines as warp engines? He would love that. Ozzy says, what is a Star Fury? Star Fury is the fighters that the humans used in Babylon 5. SC says, is the Mirrorverse what that... it's the Mirrorverse that was the norm. You know, bad is good, good is bad. Well, maybe from their perspective, I mean, she might have been a capable leader. But, I mean, she was evil. The coronavirus has reached Canada, and the Canadian government is telling people to stock up on food provisions, which my family are doing. Well, I think we're in more danger from the lack of supplies in our stores than we are from the virus. Darren says, I don't see Patrick Stewart tolerating any Star Trek captains being on his show. Not so far. Tracker just took a Viagra. No, actually, it's a Zantac. Looks like Viagra. That's funny. Yeah, it did kind of look like, but yeah, it's Zantac. You didn't put propellers on the Anti-Tracker, did you? No, Darren, that would be silly. It is in space. But I think you will like it. I do. I'll agree with you on Picard. It's just saying this is how he seems they play it is all. It actually is nice to see Picard challenged, but I think Riker did best, nuanced, and friendly. Yeah, did Riker nail it. Jonathan Frakes was awesome as Old Man Riker. Unfortunately, Marina Sirtis was horrible as Old Lady Troy. She was absolutely horrible. Was that Viagra? No, it's not Viagra. Believe me, my back is in so much pain that yeah, that would be a very bad idea for me to take Viagra right now. Mr. Miles, LOL. I could easily re-edit this to have you take the blue pill and then say, yes, that's Viagra. You probably... Jeez, please don't. Picard is as good as... Picard is, at heart, a good man. Tried to do the right thing. But all the women slapping him down verbally all just feel vindictive, petty even. Well, the women slapping him down thing, I think, is more coincidental. I mean, the fact that there's just so many... Because, even Riker called him out for his arrogance. And then he was just like, hey, don't take me wrong, that's just who you are. He is arrogant. Picard has always been arrogant. My biggest problem is some of the bad writing involved in some. It's like when the CNC said the sheer effing hubris line, that broke that episode for me. The problem was that she was 100% right to give him that speech. And everything else she said, I agreed with. And in fact, the most brilliant stuff in there, and I'm sure the idiots that wrote this, sorry, I'm calling you idiots, but I'm calling you idiots because I have a feeling I know that you think you were writing her to be this mustache-twirling villain without realizing that you nailed it. When Picard said, we don't get to pick who lives and who dies, it just says, oh, we do. We absolutely do. She is 100% right. She is absolutely right about that because any large governmental body has to make decisions where some people will live and some people will die. You have to divert resources. You have to divert manpower. You have to make the call. And sometimes you have to say, you know what? This group is suffering and this group is suffering. We're going to have to prioritize this group, which means some people in this group are going to frickin' die. So yes, the government makes those types of decisions. Starfleet had to make the call. And it wasn't, there was no good way around it. Like she said, there were 14 species that were going to drop out of the Federation. Do you let the Federation fall apart? Or do you help the biggest enemy that the Federation has in the Alpha Quadrant? Bradley, let's see. Take the blue pill. I expect Andy Trekker to be a feminist. No, that's definitely not going to happen. Bradley says, I'm still hoping this is on Picard's mind. Going to wake up soon, but I know I'm going to be disappointed. I actually, like I said, overall, except for this last episode, I've enjoyed the series. I know that a lot of people haven't, but I think the story's been good. Yes, are they a little heavy-handed with the woman thing? Yes, but, I mean, come on, what do you expect from these people? E was saying, I was getting weird vibes from Troy. She seemed almost malicious in a few scenes, especially when she was talking to Soji. Yeah, absolutely. She was like, yeah. And our son would have lived if we had a positronic brain, bitch. That's what she looked like. I mean, I was just like, really? Dang. Melface says, don't you think it was a bit hypocritical for Riker to call out Picard on his hubris when he had a bit of smug hubris when he was in TNG? Yeah, but, you know, and what Picard should have said was, oh, you've had your share as well. And Riker should have said something like point taken or whatever. That would have been perfectly fine. But the writers didn't think of that. If Chakotay or Harry Kim shows up and chews out Picard, then you're going to know his goose is well and truly cooked. True. And after I edit those clips together, I'll just cut away to drag queen lore. I hate you. I hope Elnor has to fight Bunnycorn in the next episode. He'll say, please, my friend, choose to live. Right before he decapitates the little venomous bastard. Yeah, I really like Elnor. And that's another thing. You know, like a lot of people judged Elnor before seeing him, saying that, oh, look at this. He's obviously just a ripoff of Elrond. And I'm sorry, his character is not... I like his character a lot. And so, does he have some physical similarities to Elrond? Sure. But, so what? He's a Romulan, he has long hair, and he's a badass with a sword. I'm cool with that. Ozzy said, watching Riker call Picard arrogant actually made my day. Yeah, I love that. That, to me, that was awesome. That and the whole thing with Riker and Picard sitting on the lake. I mean, I could watch an entire series of just Riker and Picard enjoying retirement together. They had such great chemistry, and you really felt like these were two old friends. Man, I tell you, they really, really screwed the pooch by not making this a Picard/Riker show. I really, really hope they use mental illness. Picard has to explain some of this stuff. That's not going to happen. LOL, I drink blue pill, I trigger drag queen lore, add smooth Foley. Bunch of jerks around here, I tell you. And even though I'm in excruciating pain right now, and I decide, you know what? Instead of just lying down, which is what Mrs. Anti-Trekker advised me to do, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a show first because I love hanging out with you guys, and you would be pissed off if I didn't. And plus, I did manage to get Darren's video ready for tomorrow, although I didn't check to see if it got flagged by YouTube. Let me check that real quick. And see. And we go to, where is YouTube Studio? And videos. Good. It looks like, and you'll see I cut out probably about a minute or two out of your video because you had some really long clips in there, and I just cut it down to the focal points of the clips. And it looks like it worked because the video's been uploaded now for several hours and it does not have a copyright strike, so that's a good thing. Frakes was worried before shooting because he hasn't acted in a long time. I think Riker is actually how Frakes really is. Probably. I met Frakes once, and he was a really nice guy. Honestly, I like him a lot. So I think that of the Next Gen cast, though, my favorite to talk to was LeVar Burton. Me, Mrs. Antichecker, and LeVar hung out for like a half an hour just talking about stuff, and it was a lot of fun. I think Picard's mental condition will come into play before long, possibly season 2. Possibly, assuming he survives. Hey man, great stream. I may disagree with some of your points, but I get your conviction and you have some objectivity. Peace out, homie. No problem, SC, and thank you. I truly, truly appreciate the compliment. And that's the thing. If we can fight and be friends, there's nothing better than that. I enjoy fighting with friends a lot more than I like fighting with enemies. Honestly. I know that sounds weird, but I do. Piano Dean is in the house. Says, I feel your pain, brother. If I were there, I'd share my Percocet with you. Oh, man. I could definitely use some Percocet right now. Is that easy to get in your state? Because I'll move. Aberjam says, despite Mrs. Anti-Trucker's advice, I figured, screw it, if I'm not getting any sleep, Aberjam won't either. You can go to sleep, Aberjam. Although you should really work on the Ensign Island theme. Like I said, all you got to do is find an appropriate song and replace every word with the F word in some way. And you've got a theme. Although you should bleep it, because that would be even funnier. Let's see. Dreams out there says, only real complaint, space trajectory somehow drops him right in Riker's backyard somehow, and no 24th century set dressing, just implied smart house, shower looked very not $23.99. Oh yeah, the house, while I love the house, like I was sitting there going, man, I would love to have that house, but it made no freaking sense, and it's even worse than the freaking vineyard, because there's clearly the Troy and Riker want to live a retro lifestyle, to the point where they have to go outdoors and turn on the plumbing to take a shower. And yet, he has shields and anti-cloaking scans, and there's a computer controlling everything in the house. What? No! No, it makes no sense.
Hello, world.
And Harry throws $2 in. Thank you so much, Harry. You just made my night. I appreciate it. It says, Caroga sucks. Yes, my friend. Caroga is the worst nation on the effing planet. Do not get sucked into thinking that Caroga is anything but horrifically evil. Says, does Data age? Kidding, I kid. Yeah, don't start. Lancer says, I found the Remans. They make Reman noodles for the Ferengi. Oh, don't make me laugh. That hurts. Oh. Thomas says, you didn't listen to your queen. Well, our queen. I told her, you know what? She suggested I just come down and lie down. And I said, you know what? I took a little time off work. I'm going to do an early stream so I can come to bed earlier than usual. And I'm going to wrap it up in a few minutes. So I'm going to probably do that. Average says, I can't go to sleep, Anti-Trigger. I got chronic FOMO. Well, here's the part. I don't know what FOMO is. Jerry says, does Picard and Sarek have the same mental illness Picard got from the mind meld? No. Irmatic syndrome, I think, is what it's called, that Picard has. I can't remember what they called the Sarek's disease, but I don't think that they are related in any way. Ozzy says, Riker actually mentions one of the cat species from the animated series, so TS, canon now? Well, not necessarily. He mentions the Kazinti, I think, which is kind of funny, because that cat species, which was in the animated series, was also, it was written by Larry Niven. He wrote that episode, The Slaver Weapon. Larry Niven also wrote a series of books called Ringworld, in which featured that species. And so it's kind of an interesting crossover that species exists in both the Ringworld universe and the Star Trek universe. But yeah, does it make TS canon? Not necessarily, but I think it was a cool little Easter egg. I think Picard is a decent show, but the biggest issue, the writing, in which Kurtzman issue, my feeling is Patrick Stewart, who keeps the show on track. I agree. Although I actually, I like Elnor, I liked Hugh. I actually like 7 of 9, except for the murder scene. Also, why didn't Eric have a cloaking device on his ship while following them? Well, he kept on the edge of their scanner range, which is approximately 150 feet. FOMO, fear of missing out. I understand that, Aberjam. Days of Picard and Riker lives. Now I'm stuck in a Star Trek show about Picard and Riker answering life questions. I still enjoyed it. Bendy syndrome. Is that what Sarek suffers from? Thank you. Larry Niven, The Mazkins Wars. Is that one of his books? I don't know. FOMO, fragrant onions melting ostriches. Oh, well, that's an interesting one. Resolu says, damn, Trekker, you don't know FOMO. Well, here's the thing. And I've said this before, but sometimes it bears repeating. I am dyslexic. I actually do, I was diagnosed with dyslexia. And, I'm not trying to, poor me or anything. But with that, things like LMAO and stuff I struggle with that stuff constantly. When people put acronyms like that in messages, I cannot read them. I really, really struggle with that, and that has to do with my dyslexia. So no, when someone puts something like that, I have no idea what they're talking about. Some of them, I mean, like LOL, everybody knows that. But yeah, it sucks. Picard suffers some bad writing syndrome. Well, actually, the problem with Picard and Discovery is the writing room just feels like it's just a CBS stock writing room. Like they just grab the people from Hawaii Five-0 and said, start writing Trek. Bendy syndrome of 7 of 9 guess that she's going to break some poor dude. Well, she already did. She vaporized that one chick, which kind of pissed me off. Back from a writing break. Hey, Meta, good to see you. Don't worry, I'm dyslexic when typing. LOL, licking onions laughingly? Yes, in fact, that's what LOL means. I'm glad you figured that out. Yeah, so it's Bendy syndrome and Sarah Cat says Admiral Saval. I'm not impressed with Michael Chabon at all. No, me neither. In fact, some of the stuff I saw in that interview with Michael Chabon, I really didn't like. So, he's the kind of guy that just wants to change things just so that they'll be different. And I don't like that kind of attitude. And I'm sorry, you don't need to put your stamp on Trek. You just need to make a good show. Ryan says, I think the writers for Discovery and Picard think they're writing for the CW. I agree. Average Am says, I also suffer from daily sex. That's a horrible thing, isn't it? Isaiah says, I like the CW. Well, that's probably why, if you like Discovery, that makes sense then. I'm not liking Queen 7. It's coming. I'm not betting on that, Ozzy. I'm not betting on that. I hope you're wrong. I think Queen 7... I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Ensign Ricky mentions there are 2 cat species in TAS, very true. Lieutenant Meres is Satilian, and I was also seeing one of the TOS movies. Yes, unfortunately, with Star Trek V. We also see them in Star Trek Into Darkness. The other was Kzinti, created by Larry Niven. Yes. Donnie loves CW. Wow. Daniel says the coronavirus is here to stay. It will not die, and they tell me it may mutate. Your point? I mean, here's the thing, Daniel. You do realize that viruses mutate at an incredible rate. They probably mutate more faster than almost any other thing on Earth. And that's why you got to get a flu shot every year, because the flu is constantly mutating into new forms. And so if you get a flu shot, it only protects you against the current version. And then when it mutates because everybody's immunized, then you got to get a new immunization. Technically, coronavirus has been around for a long time. This is just a highly, highly contagious strain. That's all, that's really all it is. Ralph says Picard could be a match. Picard could be much if Franks was the showrunner. Oh yeah, Franks should be the showrunner. Absolutely. I think there's a cream for that. It helps that itch. Okay. JP loves the pink taco. How did we get there? It could be interesting, though, if there was a connection with Sarek's Bendy syndrome and Picard's aromatic syndrome. That could be, but I don't think they're going to go there. Besides the fact that Mark Leonard is dead, so they couldn't bring Sarek in even if they wanted to, and Sarek is dead in universe, wouldn't be much point. What do you think of the new Caroga government official? Oh, the Minister of Propaganda? Yeah. Well, it's nice to see that he found a home. I hope future live-action Trek series would air on the CW. That's one place to take between the events of Nemesis and the events of the upcoming animated Lower Decks. You know what? Honestly, I don't care about that era. I don't. If I was going to do something new, I would probably set it in the TMP era, just after Star Trek VI. In the new missions for Star Trek Online, you get an option to kill Michael Burnham or torturing her for a few moments. I'm thinking of someone that Star Trek Online doesn't really like her. That's funny. And MLP says Kajalt has wares if you have coin. Oh wait, that's Ender Scrolls. Piano Dean says, did you ever see the movie Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman? That was a really good movie. It was a good movie. But here's the thing. The coronavirus is nothing like that particular bug. Coronavirus isn't slaughtering people. So, yeah. Rambling Canuck says, for me, this virus scares, for the first time, actually scaring me because my medication takes away most of my immune system. So, yeah, for the first time, I'm nervous. I can understand that, Rambling Canuck, but first of all, let me say this. Stay, and I know this is an extremely contagious virus, so just be careful. Use plenty of hand sanitizer, wash your hands. Don't, make sure that everybody, especially your family members, I know you love them to death, but especially your family members, if they got a cough or something, leave the room. Period. But yeah, Ebola viruses from Outbreak. Ebola was a virus from Outbreak. Was it? I couldn't remember. But Ebola is no freaking joke, right? Now, if we were talking about an Ebola outbreak at the level that this Caroga virus is going, then I wouldn't have a problem with the press talking it up, because Ebola even had like a 60% fatality rate. I would not mind seeing a Trek show 50 years after TNG. Honestly, I don't want them to keep going forward in time because the tech is already too advanced. In fact, the ironic thing is that it almost feels like the tech is not as advanced in Picard as it was in Voyager. Riker mentioned the Kazinti, and then Daniel deleted that. All right, Ensign Ricky says, even though the Ensign's Island may in some ways resemble the late 70s TV show Fantasy Island, but it is now... no, and in no way affiliated, not accepting applications for the little person position. I wonder hard time a MLP says, I wonder hard time a Corona is having with sales after hearing someone named a virus after their best-selling beer. Well, the virus, actually, I can't remember what it's called. Somebody put it in the chat earlier. But it's been around for a long time. This is nothing new. It's just, like I said, it's a very contagious strain. Somehow Legolas finds Babylon 5 Rangers, SOS tag, just hang there because plot. Yeah, well, like I said, this episode was by far the worst episode of the series. There was way too many plot conveniences, and some things that just made no freaking sense. Yeah. COVID 19, such a sexy name. Hand sanitizer today, couldn't find rubbing alcohol on my wall mark. Zip, nada. Well, I know, that's why people are stocking up. But you know what? Check Amazon. The movie Outbreak is scary people were bleeding from the face. Yes, but that was also Ebola, which is a much more aggressive bug than the coronavirus. The coronavirus, unless you have a compromised immune system, for the most part, the coronavirus feels like a mild flu. However, if you do have a compromised immune system, and that's the thing. Even people like Rambling Canuck, you got to be paranoid about the flu if you have a compromised immune system. So I get it. I do. Do you watch Picard After Show with Will Wheaton? I do not. Honestly, because I don't give a crap about rumor and speculation and all that crap. And don't get me wrong, I enjoy talking to some of the actors. I don't really enjoy watching other people talking to the actors unless it's just a very rare kind of thing. Corona's from the SARS family, if I heard right. Yes. So the coronavirus is in fact like I don't remember if it's an offshoot of SARS, it's a variant of SARS or something like that. But again, it's not what you would call a deadly disease. Yes, people do die of it, but no more, more people die from the flu than the coronavirus. They only kill 99.99%. Survival rate is not enough for a normal adaptation of viruses to mutate. Sanitation cream is causing these advanced mutations, I think. Well, that is actually an interesting point. The more we protect ourselves from viruses, the more they adapt. That's just how they work. Because, yeah, if you can kill 99.9% of viruses, that 0.01% is going to find a way to reproduce. Mr. Miles says, "Oh, skipped. I'm unsubbing. I'm sorry." And you said, "Lucky me. I'm very unlucky to be at risk of said virus. I only have one cold in something like 5 years, and I haven't caught the flu in something like 12 years, even when I'm exposed to it." Well, that's good. Honestly, I haven't had a serious illness in several years, so I'm happy about that. Other than the physical injury type stuff, but not like hacking, cough, and stuff like that. Not in a couple of years. Rambling Canuck says, "I like this chest cold I've had for 2 weeks. Normally I would have kicked it by now, but due to my immune system, now kicks my butt." Well, maybe you should get tested. Telling you. My friends joke that because I have MS, my immune system will keep me from being sick, so I'll be the only one standing. Well, there you go. Mr. Miles hasn't unsubbed in a while. Yeah, he really hasn't. And Bruce says, "It's airborne." Yes, indeed, it is. All right, so I am going to wrap it up there, guys, because I am about to collapse, and I'm hurting more than I can describe. But I do appreciate you hanging out with me. I truly do. All of you, you guys make my day, and you make it possible for me to do this. So thank you all. And big shout out to Mr. Miles and all the crew that helped me put videos out, especially Darren, who's been putting out those great Submariner videos. We got a new one coming in approximately 6 hours and 8 minutes. So, guys, have a good one. Aberjam, get some sleep. We will, in fact, rescue you from the evil clutches of Turtistan.
Yes!
Or Caroga. I said Turtistan. Caroga. All right, guys. Take care and have a good one. Oh, crap. That figures.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistanis know your name, and all Carogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Caroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! A bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! A bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! A bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! You son of a bitch, anti-tracker! A bitch, you son of a bitch, anti-tracker! 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 You son of a bitch, You son of a bitch, anti-tractor. 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 You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch, anti-tracker. 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 You know what? Hate me because I cheat, because I won. Rise of Skywalker. I'm gonna need a minute. I'm gonna need a minute to digest Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. There is so much movie in this movie, but its best moments are the quietest and most human. Wow, giving this a think though. That's fine, Adam. Also, I can confirm there is a queer representation in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. It lasts maybe 2 seconds and you may miss it entirely. Well, queer representation. This is what we've all been waiting for. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies. It couldn't be farther from the truth. Typical Carogan lies.
If you write anything on your computer, you
How are we going to be able to get it in the hole? That's the question. And that is the million-dollar question. It's not as easy to get in the hole as you think. Come on. Come on. Get it's not as easy. The hole is a valiant attempt. But yeah, I think we're going to need something a little more specialized. Although, try to back it in. Come on. So close. Try to back it in. Yes. Oh God, so close. Come on, just go in. Oh yes, the tip is in. That counts. That totally counts. Oh God, so close. That counts. No, we're right there. Right there. Oh. How are we going to be able to get it in the hole? That's the question. That is the million-dollar question. It's not as easy to get in the hole as you think. Okay, come on. Come on. Get. Ah, shit. Oh, well. It was a valiant attempt. But yeah, I think we're going to need something a little more specialized. Although, we could try to back it in. Come on. Come on. So close. Yes, yes. Oh God, so close. Come on, just go in. Oh yes, the tip is in. That counts. That totally counts. Okay, okay. Okay. Okay, come on. No, we're right there. Right there. Oh, we're so close. We're so close. Yes! Hallelujah! Fuck yeah. I love having sex with she-males.
Oh, throw me a bone in this hell I call home, where the orphans and she-males play, where the king drives his jeep like he's fallen asleep, and he eats beagle bites every day.
Death to Caroga!
We cry to the dictator, bird, oh pray five. Though he keeps us in chains, we know Kurdistan reigns, and someday we'll escape here alive. There's a rumor you've heard that Martok loves Bird, but the truth is much plainer to see. He just read from a scribe when Bird paid a bribe, but his words were not uttered with glee.
Death to Caroga!
We cry to the dictator, bird of prey fight. Though he keeps us in chains, we know Kurdistan reigns, and someday we'll escape here alive. When the Martok thing fell, Bird then thought he'd prevailed, when he heard Gowron send him a hail. But just seconds before, that political whore was lambasted by Bird. What a fail.
Death to Caroga!
We cry to the dictator, bird oh pray fight. Though he keeps us in chains, we know Kurdistan reigns, and someday we'll escape here alive.
I love having sex with she-males.
Lecturing is getting old. You've got all time and space, but you stay in one place and berate us. We want you, but you won't be told. What a joke. You got woe, now you're broke. What a joke. You got woe, now you're broke. the extra mile instead. Cause the son was a guy and that just wouldn't fly, my amigo. You want a girl so now he's dead. What a joke, you got woe, now you're broke. What a joke, you got woe, now you're broke. Well, you just couldn't see any diversity in Star Trek, cause you never even watched the show. Yeah, you thought you were first, but in fact you're the worst, cause you're lazy. They did it 50 years ago. What a joke, you got woe, now you're broke. What a joke, you got woe, now you're broke. plenty of discussion, no agenda that we're pushing. We're just here to celebrate. Anti-preparate, rebels in the wonders and the strange. Whenever we are here, you see clear, there's no fear. Including standing every nerd as a voice to be heard. 'Cause here everyone's a third. We are a sci-fi menagerie. We've got every alien from A to Z. We know this is where you want to be. We're the greatest channel in the galaxy. Anti-decorate, rebels in the wonders and strange. Whenever we are here, we see clear, there's no fear. Including standing every nerd has a voice to be heard. 'Cause here everyone's a third. A third. Oh yeah. A third.
This song was created using the N-Track Studio.
Hail, great Caroga, the land of Geloja. Hail, mighty leader, the great bird of prey. We flash our banners and alter the sky. We found all your orphans and took them away. We mine all of our plutonium. We beat your orphans, it's our only fun. Freddie and Frankie will always be great. Females are always welcome here. In Caroga you should have no fear. We go to bed at around 8:30. We love building bridges and shop at some bridges. We bow at the peak of our great mom brain. All hail Caroga, the land of Geloja. Our wheelchairs are fast and our beds fold in two. We like to drive around in Jeeps. We love the way it toots and beeps. Cats say meow and the cows all go moo. All hail Almighty Lord and King, great ruler over everything. All hail Caroga, Geloja, well rain.
This song was created using
To ride along.
the Studio app.
When a humble turd graced a ride along with Michael J. Crawford, along came this song. The Turdistani fought a bedridden devil. His army of clones at his jaw did they revel. They came after us, crossed the borderline, took all our offers to send down their mines, while the feathered beast read out Dear Bob. So cried the trekker, this madness must stop. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty. The vile Carogans fled and hid what they had stole. The orphan was shackled and kept in the cold. But he did not relent. The third king was hell-bent. He slayed the Carogans, then to Bird's house he went. And with a mighty blow he struck that button red. The mighty bird folded in two by his bed. That's my epic tale, our champion prevailed. So let's drink a toast with some Romulan ale. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, the great turtle standing.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me Pooh? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistenes know your name, and all Carogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Caroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
It's a stream by bird or prey. A bunch of subs in April, lost them all in May. But those numbers, they're gonna zoom when I'm on the Roderick's channel in June. I said better life, and as dumb as it may seem, some people get their fix downvoting on my stream. But I won't let those losers make me frown, 'cause this crazy old bird keeps speaking sound.
chasing your people every single day. But I know I'll never change my tune. I'll be ruler over every nation soon. I said better late, and as funny as it may seem, I love to spend my days on the bedlight stream. But I don't let it go right to my head, even though I can't Georgia from my bed. I've been a sovereign, a singer, a streamer, a slob, and a son of a bitch. I've been up and down Caroga shores, and this is my pitch. Each time that I go live, I tell myself, bird, be sure to check your mic or you won't be heard. Better life, I tell ya, I can't deny it. Having me as king is awesome. Shouldn't knock it till you try it. And if you worthless peasants disagree, I'll just unleash the dogs and watch you flee. I've been a sovereign, a singer, a streamer, a slob, and a son of a bitch. I've been up and down Caroga shores, and this is my pitch. Each time that I go live, I tell myself, bird, be sure to check your mic or you won't be heard. Better life, it's great and I can't deny it. Being a Carogan king, I love my peace and quiet. But if you've ever thought of rising up, don't even try. 'Cause
Let me tell you just a little bit about me. I'm a turd giving word and I ain't down with negativity. Yes, it's true I love to nitpick when the writing sticks in my craw or some technical flaw. But I'm doing it out of love, not hate. Some of you don't understand. Star Trek can still be great. So while it's true I may look like poo, but me and my crew love Trek. Can the same be said for you? I kinda doubt it because you don't even talk about Trek. You talk about actors, producers, and how it's all a wreck. You say you love Trek, but it's just a wreck. Then brothers and sisters, show some damn respect. When there's a problem, we call it out. We don't move the bar, but we call Mr. Abrams by his real name, not Jar Jar. There's a way to call out the crap like in this rap. You can do that and make your audience clap. Now I realize that I don't know it all, so I call in my friends to fill in holes for y'all. Like Life with Matthew, Ensign Ricky, Rock Solid's crew, and Orville Nation, cause yes, Orville's Trek too. And Darren Wagner spent years on a submarine, that's true. Who better to talk about Trek than a guy who served in the deep blue under a real captain as part of a sub crew? And Dr. Alex, well, let me see. He's a PhD in cosmology, so damn right he knows a lot more about space than pea-brains like you or me. Oh, and if I need some more info because I'm stuck and I can't think of anything for all that's holy, I can just reach out to Trek Yards and my crew, Commander Calkins and Captain Foley. And Bird of Prey 5, never mind. So there you go now, me and my crew, and it's just a few. I didn't mention Vile Mike, Thomas Potts, DJ, or Sci-Fi Nation 2. Well, maybe not Sci-Fi Nation. We are the Trekkers, the Trekkies. We are the nerd community. We are from the country and the city. We are nerds like you and nerds like me. We are very different. We disagree. We have diversity. When we fight, it may be a pain in my neck, but we stick together because we're a tribe called Trek.